Welcome to Hearts and Stripes, your one-stop shop for all things military marriage. I hope our discussions and interviews equip you with the tools to start or grow a beautiful marriage as we address the benefits and challenges of military marriage. I believe life's most precious moments are worth celebrating, so I'll help you design your marriage blueprint in alignment with your core values. Thank you for joining us, and remember to rate, subscribe, and review. Let's do this. Hello, and welcome to Hearts and Stripes podcast. This is your host, Bree Carroll, here with another Heart to Heart. Listen, I am so excited that Military Marriage Day is just a couple of days away. We are going to kick off our virtual countdown August 7th through the 14th, and you're not going to want to miss it. We will be streaming live on Facebook, but be sure to connect with us on all social media platforms. That's Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Military Marriage Day. So today I have the opportunity of talking with some friends of mine. I'm excited about this conversation and for more couples, especially my military couples, to know about Made for Marriage. So Earl and Nicole Watson are the executive director and vice president of Made for Marriage, Inc., a nonprofit 501c3 organization in Shreveport, Louisiana. Its mission is to preserve and promote healthy marriage and family relationships through biblical, Christ-centered mentoring. As licensed pastor, certified marriage coaches, and speakers, Earl and Nicole are passionate about helping couples navigate their purpose for getting married and staying married. Additionally, their organization provides marriage education and enrichment opportunities in partnership with churches and other public, private, and faith-based organizations. They've been married for 15 years now, 16, and have one amazing son. Without further ado, here is my conversation with Earl and Nicole Watson of Made for Marriage. All right, everyone, I am excited to introduce to you some friends. When I say friends, I mean they know some stuff, right? They done been there, done that, got the t-shirts, wearing the t-shirts, actually, Made for Marriage. We are excited to just chat with you guys. And I think also what'll probably come up in this conversation is just having other couples that you can come alongside and walk through this marriage journey with. Earl and Nicole have definitely been that for myself and Donovan. So I'm excited to chat with you guys. Say hello to everyone, introduce yourself, and share your marriage story.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. And thank you so much, Bree, for having us on Hearts and Stripes. We consider it an honor. Thank you for what you're doing. I'm Earl, and
I'm Nicole.
This is my wife, Nicole. And we've been married. We actually just celebrated a anniversary last month.
Happy anniversary, y'all.
Yeah, last month. And we're celebrating 15 years now. So
that is awesome.
Negative. It's 16.
It's 15.
It's 16.
All right.
Carry the one. Who's carrying the one? Nicole is carrying the one.
It's 16.
It's 16. It's 16. It's 16 years. So I just wanted to keep her on her toes. So you got to do that from time to time. Because she's usually the one that forgets. So.
Yeah, I am.
But yeah, we just celebrated an anniversary, and we're excited about marriage. I will tell you, it has been, over the years, one of the greatest relationships. I will say the greatest relationship that we've had outside of a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. So Nicole and I met, and we didn't get a lot of dating time. We went straight to parenting. So the very early years of our marriage were a little shaky. We didn't think we would make it, but
more than a little.
A lot. Nicole face said a lot, shaky friends, a lot.
Yeah, it was. We literally considered throwing in the towel, or I considered throwing in the towel about a year and a half, I think it was. I was done. I was ready to get out of there, and thank God I didn't, because I would have never known what today looks like. And we are thoroughly enjoying the relationship that God has blessed us with. We're enjoying each other's friendship. And it's been a journey, and we're just excited that we're still here, still traveling together.
Yeah. Excited and grateful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I love that. Excited and grateful. So I'd love for you guys to share. And I know I've seen Made for Marriage grow over time, but why did you guys found Made for Marriage? Like, what was the heart behind that?
Well, um, I'll tell you, one day I had gone home for a lunch break, and Nicole and I were in a season where we were a little strained. Um, Finances were tight. We were kind of just in a season of still trying to overcome some areas where we were struggling. And I happened to go home one day, and we just spent a lunch break, which was probably about an hour and a half, sitting on the couch, um, eating a sandwich, a little bag of potato chips. I mean, we were like I said, it was rough times, y'all. And we got a chance to just sit there and talk and laugh and just enjoy each other's company for about that hour and a half. And we realized in that moment that we could really have fun together. So I get in the vehicle, I'm heading back to the office, and I'm asking myself through all of the issues and things that Nicole and I had to work through, and we're pretty candid with the issues that we dealt with. So we didn't learn how to communicate well. We went through a season of infidelity on both sides. Um, we struggled, just financially. We had a son who had a illness or was diagnosed with diabetes. And it was a lot of moving parts, and we were still, like I said, we didn't get a lot of time to date and really know each other, but we were still learning each other over the years.
Right.
So I'm in the vehicle and I'm riding back to the office, and I'm just, thinking about that time that we had together. And I asked the Lord, like, God, why is she still with me through all of the things that we've gone through all of the things that we, have faced? Why is she still with me? And I heard it so clearly, the Lord say, Earl, I made her for marriage. So you would think that would be one of those moments where you pull over, or, and you just start shouting hallelujah. You're excited that God has given you this deep revelation of, oh man, but I literally pulled over and went to googledomains.com, and I bought the
Come
domain
on.
Made for Marriage.
I love it.
That was
That's
my first,
practical. That's
you know what I
practical.
mean?
People
It
don't
was
need
my
it's
first
not always
response.
about the deep stuff. It's like practically like, oh, that's good. I'm gonna go on and take an action step.
It was. So, I mean, you would think people have those moments, but mine was, hey, I'm going to buy this domain. And luckily it was available. And I remember stepping into the office, and the media team, I was like, hey, I need a logo for this name. And one of the guys rolled back from the chair, and he looked at me and he says, nobody has that name. I said, no. And I remember him in that moment saying, you got something right here. And
Yeah.
from that day, Made for Marriage sat in front of me for about 2 years before we actually started moving with that.
Yeah.
And ultimately, our mission is to preserve and promote healthy and thriving marriages and family relationships through biblical and Christ-centered marriage mentoring based on God's original design.
Yeah.
For us, the vision for us is to live in a community of people who have the tools and the resources to be able to sustain and build a godly home, a godly family, a godly marriage.
Yeah.
So through Made for Marriage, we offer quite a few resources that we do throughout the week, that is centered on marriages and families.
I absolutely love that. I love that it came from a very simple moment, right? You just were
Very
enjoying one another's company. I know those are my favorite, the day dates when we get to come together midday, kind of take a deep breath and say, you know what? This is home. This feels good. We can have fun right here in the middle of the day. Didn't have to be extravagant. And out of that came something that you didn't even know what it would be, but you
No.
knew it was something. And I love the heart that you both have towards marriage and also with mentorship, because I think it's really big when you go through a lot of those different challenges. You can relate to people in ways that most don't have because they haven't experienced it for themselves, from
Right.
having a child and walking through what that looked like medically, to support your child, from figuring out communication. Lord, the C
Yeah.
word is our favorite word here on Hearts and Stripes podcast.
Right.
Communication, effective communication, active listening, all those things. But it's something that you walked out and that you had to go through those more challenging times.
Mhm.
And now you can now model and guide other couples to kind of overcome and get equipped with those tools to overcome, which is why I'm excited that
Mhm.
during our virtual countdown, you guys will actually be talking to Happy House, Happy Spouse. Give us a little teaser. What can people expect from that segment?
Wow. You want to share a little bit with me? Well, put it this way, the happy spouse, happy house, happy spouse is really understanding that our home should be our safe place. It's a place where the issues of the day are no longer issues. We're living in a culture now where, both spouses are typically working, their children are involved, the family doesn't have a lot of time together. That table time, that time of just really getting to sit down and, talk through each other's day and just find out how the kids are doing and just enjoying that friendship and time together. So we want to just kind of focus on, just an environment where there's mutual enjoyment for everybody.
Yes.
Everybody feels like it is their safe place, and it's
including
a place,
the pets. If there's
yeah,
some.
including the pets. We have a dog, and she feels just like she's one of a human. Like she just enjoys the
Yes.
environment as well. But it's a place of relaxation and rest, and we want to focus on how to cultivate that environment where
Right.
that's a very good place. And I think about, there's a scripture in Song of Solomon, in chapter 1, verse 16 and 17, and it talks about how the beloved is speaking to her husband about how pleasant he is and how he's made the bed green and how the beams of their house are as cedars. And all of that has meaning to it from the standpoint of how he has created this green pasture for them to live and to make sure that it's growing and it's thriving and it's a place
Yeah.
of enjoyment and peace. But she's also complimenting him and
Right.
thanking him for the effort and the work that he's put into doing that. And
Yeah.
as a result, they get to see the environment around them be be a creation of the love that they've shared and how that love for one another has built that environment. So we're excited to be able to share, and I hope couples will be blessed by that.
Oh, I definitely think that they will, especially because as we do our annual military marriage survey, a lot of the points of or the stat that showed the highest arguments, it had to do with those responsibilities and cultivating that environment in their house and figuring out parenting and responsibilities and really sharing the weight of what goes on in the house. So I really think this is going to be something that couples need to hear. So we're really excited for that segment during the virtual countdown. For those who are tuning in, make sure that you are following Military Marriage Day on Instagram, but you can actually find the segments that Made for Marriage does on Facebook at Military Marriage Day. And they'll be doing that virtual segment, and we'll link it below so that you can navigate there very, very easily. So I talked about the military marriage survey and how we capture data each year regarding our military couples. I know Made for Marriage has had several military couples that you've
Yes.
served and civilian couples, which we absolutely love. I'm curious from your perspective, what are some of the more common issues that you've seen in marriages today?
Well, unfortunately, one of the resounding ones that we hear over and over again is the fact that no one really ever saw a great marriage. Either there were broken homes or there were just issues within the home. And so unfortunately, we don't have so many great billboards out there for people to be able to relate to or draw from, to glean from. So that's one. And then communication, of course. Communication always hits, because that alone too plays into what you were able to see. Like, we try to not only show our son the good times that when we're getting along, but also for him to see, like, oh, okay, I think daddy has maybe tap danced on mama's nerve, but let's see how she handles this. Like, so we're trying to teach him both sides of the coin, coins. Say, you think you want to add?
I think you hit the primary one, and I want to also add that I think so many couples have lost their friendship.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the very thing that drew them together is the very thing that has, you know, they've lost that connection of friendship. And I think that there has to be you know, friendship in a marriage, and it's a way that opens up the communication. You know, we can talk to one another as friends. We might not agree with everything, and we go on about our business, and the next day it's like, hey, you want to meet up for coffee or do whatever. In a marriage, it's like you'll have a disagreement and you're supposed to be best friends, and you won't talk for weeks. You know what I mean? So it's understanding the friendship and, you know, the communication aspect that Nicole touched on. If the communication is not there, you can almost, you know, 100% guarantee that there's going to be conflicts in all the other areas of your marriage. So if you can't master that communication area, then you're guaranteed to have issues in all the other areas of your marriage, because you simply don't know how to discuss those tough or have those tough conversations.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. And I appreciate Nicole sharing that billboard, not having those examples, not having those billboards. And I also feel like that is why Military Marriage Day is so important. It has been so important to me to continue to push forward with this group of amazing ambassadors. Shout out to all of our MMD ambassadors who work behind the scenes to make this possible. But it's to show a picture of what military marriages, what marriage period could look like. And I love that you also said, Nicole, both sides of it, because even when we were developing the holidays brand, if you will, we asked couples and we had over 100 responses. Because when we said, when you think of military marriage, what do you think of? Like, what does that give you? And one of the more common responses was like a roller coaster. Ups, downs, loop-de-loops, which is why the brand itself is more festive. And we're excited as we grow. We are looking to do a festival style celebration for Military Marriage Day. And y'all, if I can get a roller coaster in this thing, I'm gonna try. But it's showing both sides of the coin. I feel like oftentimes, or we would do our couples a disservice if we only showed during Military Marriage Day smiling, happy couples that ain't never gone through anything. That is not our reality.
Go
ahead.
I was going to say, so one of the couples that we just did a meeting with them on Friday, and they're military. Well, he's military. They're in separate states now because he's stationed out of state. And they're going through a season now, of course, I guess just with, you know, the separation part of, you know, the military, and for medical reasons and things of that nature. And it just goes to show, whether it's military or civilian, we're all facing the exact same issues. We still have to deal with life as life comes.
Because life
happens at the speed of life. And
I like that.
You know, one of the things that I love about this couple is their communication is on a whole nother level, because that's all they have.
Yes.
They're not in each other's presence every day, but they're not afraid to have those difficult tough conversations, and they're a young couple. And I will
Mhm.
tell you that Nicole and I speak of them since
Yeah.
we've met them and been able to do their premarital counseling and mentoring. And even now, after all of that, we're still doing our check-ins. We speak of that couple
Yeah.
every single time we meet with a couple, because they have really focused on the communication aspect. And again, they didn't really have a great billboard of what marriage
Mhm.
looks like, but they vowed to make sure that they were going to have a relationship that stood the test of time. And
Yes.
they are really putting forth the effort
Yeah.
to do that. So we're
Yeah.
excited about that. And just to say that military and civilian, like, hey, we're all facing the exact same issues.
Hmm. And if I can brag on my military couples, especially since those are who listening, I have the belief that because we are put under that pressure and because we don't have a choice but to communicate well or do the, I really feel like that is why military couples have the opportunity to be those shining examples. We
Right.
have to figure it out.
Right.
Right.
So
Mhm.
it makes it that much more. I like to say it this way. Oftentimes things will take the time that you allow it to take, right? So if you take 10 years to figure out how to communicate, that's how long it's going to take you to figure out how to communicate. In military life, we don't have no choice because we got a TDY, we got to figure out deployment. He's gone, she's gone. We got to figure this stuff out now. We don't have the time or the
Right.
luxury to just
Right.
be playing through this thing and figure
Right.
it out years down the road. If we
Yeah.
wait that long, we won't be together that long.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
I think that is why maybe I'm a little harder on military couples, but I don't want to see military couples have mediocre relationships. Their
Right.
marriages
Yeah.
should be shining examples because we go through hard things. And if we work together, if we seek out these resources, if we get mentors and things, we can really shine and be an example of what an extraordinary marriage could look like. So,
Mhm.
Exactly.
yeah. And as we
Exactly.
talk about these resources, I would love to hear how Made for Marriage could be a resource to our service couples. Please share how they can connect with you and any advice that you may have for our couples listening.
Well, I think the first thing, Bree, and it's something that I think many people struggle with, is finding the heart to open up to somebody else about the issues that they're facing. So for me, the first thing would be is find somebody to talk to. Bree, I know you get an opportunity to mentor couples as well, to be able to speak, and you have it directly from the military life. You know what I mean? Like, you've experienced
Mhm.
having to, go through the different changes that the military goes through, and the things that your family has to go
Endure.
through and
Yeah.
endure as well. And I think that a lot of times we feel like we're in this by ourselves. So a lot of times it's just that, finding somebody to open up and talk to. I think that, getting some good coaching or mentoring or therapy will be good for couples. I'm not necessarily looking at all of the, devotionals and things of that nature. I think we're in a season now that we have to really focus on making sure that we're putting forth effort to see the best in our spouses, in
Mhm.
our marriage, in our relationships. And a lot of times that comes through just understanding, being around other people and voicing some of the things that you're struggling with.
Yeah.
Allow other people to kind of share that perspective of, hey, this is what I see, and maybe if you were to try this, or, you know just asking those open-ended questions
Mhm.
for couples to really be able to talk. The good thing about that is, if your spouse is sitting by you, they get to hear what's actually on your heart, and it's in a controlled environment
Yeah.
where,
Mhm.
you can kind of share your thoughts. And I think that that's huge, to be able to open up and talk. Another thing is, joining married groups and getting around
Yeah.
other married
Community.
couples community
Mhm.
will have a huge impact. One of the things that I like as well is, I don't know if many couples have taken or familiar with the Enneagram. Bree, are you familiar with the Enneagram?
Yes, I love it. I'm a
Okay.
3. Shout out to all my 3s out there.
Okay, so you're a 3. I'm a 2. And for us as 2s, I will say I'm a helper, but it has its upside and its downside. So I really
Mhm.
think that truly knowing your spouse's personality
Yes.
helps you to navigate how you interact with each other and understand that, you know what, this is my spouse's personality. How can I serve that personality? And it also allows you to know how those personalities work in a negative light. So you're able to kind of, pick up on,
Oh
for
yeah.
me as a helper, I love to help. I love to do things where I'm feel like I'm involved, that I'm needed. But a lot of times the downside of that is it can be very manipulative. So there's some things in there that, I have to look at that, hey, if I'm doing stuff for Nicole, am I manipulating the situation because I'm wanting something in return? So it's knowing the personalities of your spouse. And I think that
Yeah.
that helps a whole lot.
I love that. I'm gonna have to link the Enneagrams below in the show notes so that you guys can check that out. I know I was working with a strengths coach, and I love the way you said that at the end. She looks more at like Clifton strengths, but I think it applies to Enneagram as well.
Yeah.
And it's Corey Weathers. You guys know and love Corey. She's been on the
Yeah.
podcast and will be on the podcast for this season. But one of the things that I love that she says is she asked me a question, what is the difference between a superhero and a villain? And the answer that we came to was it's how they use their power. So even with that Enneagram, even with that strength, the difference between you having a good day with your spouse and having a bad day with your spouse determines how are you utilizing that personality, your strengths, how are you being, right? And I think that is what you were hitting on with knowing both sides, those outer limits of what you can do with your personality, and also knowing how that complements your spouse or how that can make your spouse very upset. So I love
think a
that. I
lot
think
of
that's a
people,
great resource.
it is, and I think it actually, I don't want couples to feel afraid to be able to know that, because I think it is so helpful to the health of the relationship too, is to be able to know those sides of who your spouse is, and being able to communicate and go from that aspect of it.
I'm laughing because it's like you can say, "Oh, Nicole, that girl's special," or you be like, "Ooh, that girl is special." Like it's a good special or a bad special.
Yeah,
It helps you deal with my
yeah,
specialness.
yeah.
Absolutely. And I do want to plug in here because they did not say it, so I'm gonna love on them. You should definitely check them out at madeformarriage.com. That domain that Earl mentioned that he ran out and got early on. Please feel free to check them out at madeformarriage.com. They do virtual appointments. This is something that, and what I think makes it unique about how they serve, not only are they looking at biblical principles, but also you have the opportunity to do counseling sessions with both of them. Or if the gentleman wants to meet with Earl and the lady likes to meet with Nicole, those are also options that they have available, and they can help connect you to that community and other couples that can help you walk alongside as you go through this marriage journey. So thank you for being a resource. We so appreciate it. Thank you for how you serve our military couples through counseling, and also for those who are soon to be married or know some couples who are soon to be married, premarital counseling. That is also something that they provide. So definitely check out Made for Marriage for all of those resources.
Thank you, Bree. Thank you. I have a hard time trying to, but
it is fine. It is fine. And I think it's really goes to the heart of just what Made for Marriage stands for. You just want to meet the need. You have a heart for couples. You have a heart for marriages. But yes, absolutely. You guys do amazing things. So we want to get that word out there. That's why we are excited that you're here on Hearts and Stripes podcast.
Thank you.
So as we wrap up, it is my favorite part of the podcast, and that is our heart tracks. You can find a full list of the playlist for heart tracks on Spotify. The link is below in the show notes. And the reason why we love this playlist is because these are reminders of the conversations and discussions that we have right here on Hearts and Stripes. You can play the whole playlist while you're cleaning, while you're driving, and you'll have a reminder of how you should prioritize your marriage, something funny that was said here on Hearts and Stripes, or just something to set the mood. So, Earl and Nicole, you are in the hot seat right now. We want to hear what these heart tracks are for this episode.
You go first.
All right. Well,
I think we have separate.
Yeah. Okay. So for me, I was thinking about the Happy House, Happy Spouse, and I think mine is going to be Firm Foundation by Cody Carnes. Cody Carnes. It is a song that basically speaks to the foundation of, that Christ is our firm foundation. And as a biblical, Christ-centered mentoring ministry, what we love to do is center everything around biblical perspectives and biblical insight. So understanding that that's where the change comes, and when it's built on the foundation of Christ, then it can't be shaken, it can't be moved. It doesn't matter what seasons come. That foundation is not going to be shaken, it's not going to be broken, and that's what holds us together.
So my turn.
Yes, Nicole, let's hear it.
I'm about to mess it all up for the playlist.
It's fine. No, there's no wrong answer. We done had everything from Journey to everything. It's fine. Everything in between.
But wait, so I say that because if it's really almost anything Israel and New Breed, you can't miss me. Like it all falls on my heart. I can start on one song and I have gone through maybe 2 or 3 by the time I feel as though like my spirit is better. I do remixes of them all.
Okay, remixes. DJ Nicole coming to a playlist near you.
Yeah, so like his latest, the Feels Like Home. Like I absolutely love so many of those. So I guess so like,
you got a whole album.
Yeah, I really do.
She's got an album, not a song.
It's fine. We are definitely gonna put one of, even if it's a title track, we will add that to the playlist so that people can have that reminder of awesome. Made for marriage, and just knowing that Christ is at the center, having those biblical reminders of how they can model their marriage so that they can have a successful, thriving relationship. Thank y'all so much for being on Hearts and Stripes podcast. You. It is always a pleasure when we have the opportunity to connect. And again, to all the couples who are listening, whether you're listening on the day that is released and Military Marriage Day is just a couple of days away, or you are listening to the replay, be sure to connect with us at militarymarriageday.com and Military Marriage Day on all social media platforms, and connect with Made for Marriage. We love y'all, and we'll see y'all soon.
All right.
Thank you for tuning in. Remember to rate, subscribe, and review. This is Hearts and Stripes. We are the few, the proud, that aim high and are forged by love. Always ready, always there. We are Mill Marriage Strong.